Hey friends, anyone else go on spring break with your family? And you're like, is this really spring break or is this a bust? I don't know about you, but man, I have had a challenging time trying to get back into the normal routine and into the swing of things. As a mom, as a fire wife, I am just like, oh, I just need to go back to bed. But who has time for that? You know, that old saying, like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I feel like that's my life right now. I'm like, how am I going to get all of these things accomplished and all of these things done? And I'm just so tired. So if you're there with me, know that you're not alone. And we had a great time on spring break. We stayed at an Airbnb by a creek and it was beautiful. And we went to another Airbnb closer to some other friends. It was 2-story. It was great. But then there's pieces of it and you're like, what on earth are we doing? So the first place we stayed at was beautiful, but it was 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I don't know if you have been used to or accommodated to 2 or more bathrooms in your house. But when you go down to 1 bathroom as a family of 4, you're like, what are we doing here? But it all worked out. Of course, we make the best of everything that we face and everything that we go through. Maybe a little bickering or, whatever in the background, but we end up making it work. So I actually really enjoyed staying at the 2-bedroom, 1 bath over staying at the 2-story house. So we traveled to North Carolina to see some friends, and we have friends in Asheville and we have friends in Durham area. And so we had a fantastic time seeing them. But there were just some quirks and some things about the trip that was like, whoa. And it just really makes you realize when you spend so much time with the people that you love that you're like, oh, that really bothers me about you. And so it's like, okay, we're supposed to be having a good time. Like in the back of your mind, you're going, we're supposed to be having a good time. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be an experience for the kids. They're supposed to be loving this, right? Like all of these things. And it's like, okay, this is very challenging. So I say all that to say that if you went on spring break or on any vacation, or you're planning to go on spring break, maybe you're listening to this and you're like, I'm going away on spring break in a couple of weeks or in the next week. Great. But make sure that if you're a prayer, pray about it. If you journal about it. Like, have maybe a mantra in your brain or an affirmation that says, I will have a great time. And, and I'm making light of it, but man, I'm going to tell you, there were some moments where I was like, I just want to go sit at a coffee shop by myself and do nothing, because it can just really wear on you when you're kind of back to back. And we didn't really plan anything. I'm a planner, but I'm also a free spirit. And so when I go on vacation, I just like the adventure of it, right? I'm an adventurer. So I just love to be in a place and I'm like, we'll just figure it out. My husband, on the other hand, there's no probably. I drive the man crazy, okay? He loves it though. It's why he married me, right? And that's why we're still together after almost 15 years. But I'm going to tell you that he's like, so what are we doing next? I'm like, I don't know. Stop asking me. And maybe I sounded a little like a crazy person, or maybe I just looked like one just now on the video. I don't know. But there are just moments when your life is so jam-packed, like back to back, and you're like, I just want to go on vacation and not have a plan. Is that too much to ask? And guys, it's not too much to ask, but you may want to communicate with the other people in your house, especially your spouse or your partner. Like, let's make sure we communicate those wishes and desires and we don't just expect them to know. Because I'm going to tell you from experience that if your expectations are up here for other people, you're going to be disappointed, because you have created this reality, or it's maybe not a reality, but you think it is. You have created this place that you expect someone to sit at or be at. And they're like, I don't have a clue what you're talking about, woman. How am I supposed to fulfill those desires and wishes, right? And I'm going to tell you, I'm a person of faith. And so I expect God to fulfill the things that other people can't, right? But even then, I'm still human and I'm still flesh and I still want what I want. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't expect people to know what you want if you don't tell them, right? Even with all of that, in spite of all of that, we still had a great time. Again, we traveled on a Monday. It was fine. We woke up, left really early. I could tell you so many things about like every single day that happened. And you would be like, oh, okay, well, why didn't you guys just turn around and go back home? And at one point, Adam actually looked at me and he was like, I just want to go home. And I'm like, well, we're not, because we're here. And the kids want to have fun. Like, these are the behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see. And but we really did sit down at the table at the Airbnb and we just had a heart to heart. And I was like, listen, I kind of gave him a pep talk, but then it was for me too, right? Like we have to be able to pick ourselves up and just move forward. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go through the process of whatever you need to go through depending on your circumstance, your challenge, whatever it is you're facing. So the spring break trip, we literally had a heart to heart, and I had to kind of encourage my husband, but then he made me realize that I was being not a nice person. Let's just say it that way. And so we both had to change our perspectives and we both had to get on the same page. And that is so important when you're in a relationship. Don't be afraid to share your heart and share your feelings, share your emotions, And if you're in a relationship where you can't do that, then I would question if it's healthy or not. Because I know that I can share my heart and share my feelings and emotions with my husband, and he's not going to disregard them. He's not going to stomp on them. He's not going to throw them out the window. He's not going to tell me I'm being ridiculous. He's going to acknowledge them and he's going to talk through it with me. So if you're in a relationship where you can't do that, I would question the validity of your relationship and the value that's given to you in your relationship. Just putting a little side note out there for you. Okay. Now, I will tell you, if you need any help with any of the stuff that I just mentioned about trauma, about healing, about your journey, about your relationship, about any of those things, about getting on the same page, about communication, I am a life coach. So I would be happy to help you. Just go on over to my website, inthelightcoach.live. Click on whatever you want on there. There's some free resources. There is a free downloadable on tips on how to overcome shame. Because listen, there are many times in our lives that we've been through some stuff and we're carrying around shame. It's in our backpack. We don't even realize it. So that's one of the things that I'm offering. And if you sign up for that, then you'll get a subsequent free download from me through the email that you'll get. So go get some free stuff and keep listening, okay? And don't forget to subscribe, because if you don't subscribe, then you don't get my updates on what we're doing here. So spring break or bust, guys. I would say that spring break was great, but I'd also say that it was exhausting. And so if you're with me and you're still trying to overcome, or you're getting ready to go on spring break and you're like, oh, great, this is real encouraging. Just set yourself up for success, right? Plan a few things. Don't go in it as a free spirit like me and willy-nilly it and, end up frustrated because people don't understand that you just want to be a free spirit and you want to hit some places and you want to take your family to places that you've been to. Because I go on girls' trips and I don't take the men and the dog. I go by myself because mama needs some time alone too. If you're a mama, say yes and amen if you're an amener, okay? Because here's the thing. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be healthy enough to take care of and help your family, right? And so I want you in a healthy place as well. And I coach women, by the way. If you're a man listening to this, I'm sorry, I will not coach you, but I can point you to some really great guys that I know that you can be coached by. So anyway, reach out to me. Would love to see you on my website, in my community. I'm a life coach, a nurse, a fire wife, a mom, all of those things and the experiences I've had in my life, it's just set me up to be able to help so many people, and I'm so thankful. I was actually like literally getting emails that my coaching clients are setting up their visits with me, their time with me, because I just got back from vacation. So they're like, woo, let me book some more calls with Bridget. So I just love that. I love getting those emails and knowing that I'm helping people. And I just love loving on people. And I love helping people. I love seeing the aha light bulb moments. And I had some of those on spring break with my husband. We had a moment where we had to go back to Airbnb, and we brought our golden doodle Lily with us, and we had to go back to Airbnb, and our friends watched our boys for us, and we walked the dog and took care of some laundry and did some things. And we had a great conversation about where the trajectory of his business, this business, a nonprofit that we're a part of, like all these things. And it was just so enlightening and so good. And so I want you to seek after those moments and those pockets of goodness, because we need to be present in the moment and not always looking to the future and what's to come, but being present right in the moment. And that's really how you can enjoy your time away, your spring breaks, your vacations, your weekends, your long weekends, right? We have Good Friday and Easter observed on Monday coming up in April. That's going to be a great 4-day weekend. I'm looking forward to that with my family. And so set yourself up for success. Don't expect everyone to know what your thoughts and desires and dreams are. Put it out on paper. Put it out to be accountable. Share it with your spouse or your partner. Share it with your best friend. And enjoy life. There is so much to enjoy. I know there's crazy things happening in the world, but I want you to seek after the things that are good and joyful and pleasant and pleasing. I say this to I reminded my 6-year-old the other day. My girlfriend actually just sent me a quote, the one by Fred Rogers whenever he was younger. Mr. Rogers, his mom used to tell him when he would get scared or frightened over something that he saw, she would say, just look for the helpers. Look for the helpers. And I just love that. I love that we can seek and look after and see the goodness and the good parts of life, even when we're going through challenges. I will share in another time, like even when I went through the trauma that I went through and the things that were after that and the healing process that I had, I always tried to look at what the good parts were, because there were a lot of parts that weren't good, but there were a lot of parts, or there were some parts that weren't good. There were a lot of parts that were good. And so set yourself up for success. Go on that vacation and have an amazing time. Like God wants you to have an amazing time. He wants you to have an abundant life. John 10:10 says. If you don't know about the Bible, that's okay. I love the Bible. I love reading it. I'm a believer. You don't have to be. It's great. I would love for you to be, but you don't have to be. So anyway, stick around. I can't wait to share more with you, and I'll be back soon.